biotic interaction. It's a very short topic. In fact, only one slide on biotic interaction. Okay. So biotic interaction, what we'll do is we'll try to understand. We all know that environment has two components: biotic components and abiotic components. Okay. Now, biotic components can interact with abiotic components. Do interact with abiotic components because we do interact with air, we interact with water, we interact with sunlight, we interact with temperature. These are all the abiotic components of the environment. But within biotic organisms also we interact. Let's see how that interaction is classified. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to assign weights. Assign weights means we will call benefit as +1, no harm as 0, and harm as -1. Why we are saying this is the result of any biotic interaction is only these three states. So this, what is this? This is the result. The result of biotic interaction. It is only 3. Now, 3 results, and how many species we are looking at? 2 species. Is this clear? 3 results, 2 species. Now, let's move on to the first case. The first case is that of mutualism, where the species 1, so this column is species 1, this column is species 2, this is an example. Species 1 all benefits and species 2 also benefits. So mutualism is synonymous to win-win situation for both. Both of them benefit. Are there such examples? There are multiple examples. I have given only few, but there are multiple examples. So one is the example of E. coli in large intestine, which inhibits the growth of other bacteria. So E. coli in the human intestine, it gets a space to stay, but it prevents other disease-causing bacteria from taking space in the human intestine. Cattle and egret. Have you heard of this? You must have seen a cattle and a bird is on top of it. Yeah. Now, how does the cattle get advantage? The egret many times it eats ticks. You understand ticks? Small insect kind of a thing that is there on the cattle's skin, on the hair. So the egrets eat it. So the egret fills its stomach. The cattle gets rid of parasites which could otherwise be sucking its blood. So it's a win-win situation here. Shark and remora fish. So shark is a natural predator. So remora fish is one which attaches itself to the shark. So it's almost like shark gives remora fish a free ride wherever it goes. What does the remora fish do? Very similar to what egret does for cattle. It eats the parasite that is there in the shark. Okay. And also it eats the leftover from the shark, because shark is a prey. So it will eat big, let's say, fishes. Whatever is left out from the shark is eaten by the remora. And how does the shark benefit? The shark benefits because the parasites has been eaten by the shark. Sorry, by the remora. Pollination can also be seen as an example of mutualism. Why? From a flower point of view or from the species of plant point of view, it helps in multiplying the population of that species. From a bee point of view, it is able to, bee or even birds, hummingbirds or any other birds, they get the nectar. So you have multiple examples of mutualism in nature. So that is +1, +1. Let's now look at commensalism. So one species is benefited, other has no impact. Other has no impact. Please bother. Here also, instead of shark, remora, there is another species of fish. I'm forgetting, which is not attached to the shark, but it just goes along with the shark. There, it just gets benefited from the shark's leftover prey, pieces of the prey, but shark does not have any benefit. Anyway, so the other example of benefit is what is called as a dung beetles. So there are a specific type of beetles called dung beetles, and when the cow dung falls on them or when they go inside the dung, it provides food and shelter. The dung acts as the food as well as the shelter. Shelter because it provides the beetles the warmth. Yeah, food is they are able to extract nutrients from the cow dung. But does it impact? Does it benefit the cow? No way. Does it harm the cow? No way either, because the cow is least bothered what happens to the cow dung. But for the dung beetles, it is a big thing. So that's on the commensalism. That's on the commensalism. Okay. Now the third one is amensalism. So the next score here is 0 plus 1 is plus 1. I'm just saying this weightage for so that it's easy for you to remember. Because when you think mutualism is plus 2 or commensalism is plus 1, you will for sure know that it has to be benefit and harm, no harm combination. It cannot be harm and no harm combination. Are you able to understand? Because that is how you'll get plus 1 more. The reason why I invented this weights was it is easy for you to remember. Commensalism means benefit, no impact, means what combination it is. It's easy for you to. Okay. Commensalism is plus 1 and no impact. Amensalism is minus 1 and no impact. So the next score is minus 1. Okay. One species is harmed and the other has no impact. One is harmed and the other has no impact. Now, shade of a large tree stunting the growth of a small tree. That's an example of amensalism. If you see in villages, generally, if you are raising tall trees on your land, the neighboring guy will object it. Especially if the sun direction is such that your tree's shadow will fall on his land, and in shadow plants do not grow really well, so he may object. So that's an example of amensalism. Okay. Now the fourth is competition. Competition means unfortunately both are harmed. So this is the lowest score. Two species compete for limited food in the same area. So in this, what happens? Because when it comes to wild animals, there is no concept of sharing. I mean, even in human beings, there is not really a concept of sharing among many beings. But in wild animals, for sure, there is no concept of sharing. So multiple, let's say, uh, uh, lion or tiger hunting one deer, there is always going to be a fight over who gets the, so to say, the lion's share of it. Yeah. So that's on competition. The last part is predation and parasitism. This we understand. So one is benefited and the other is harmed. So the score is 0. So the next score is 0. Are you kind of able to understand this kind of a weightage so that you're able to understand it? So if you can just remember, mutualism is plus 2. In fact, if we draw it over a line like this, draw it over a x-axis. This is 0 plus 1 plus 2 minus 1 minus 2. Okay, so minus 2 is your competition where both are harmed. Plus 2 is your mutualism where only where both are benefited. One is harmed and the other is benefited is predation or parasitism. So this becomes predation. Then commensalism is plus 1 and amensalism is minus 1. Okay, so that's an easy way to put commensalism and amensalism. Is this clear to you? Yeah, so that it also comes as a